So you're thinking about moving to Bend, Oregon from Eugene, Oregon? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be covering in today's video. Eugene in the valley on the other side of the mountains on the west side versus Bend, Oregon on the east side of those Cascade Mountains. High desert climate versus the valley climate. That's what we want to touch on today. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the cost of living as it relates to Eugene versus Bend. So if this video sounds like it's for you, then stick around because we're going to be getting after that comparison right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, sleeping, working, playing, the cost of living, the good and the bad of living in Bend, Oregon or surrounding areas, then subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell below so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Bend and Central Oregon. My name's Ryan and I've lived in Bend for over 30 years. My business partner Zach and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you looking for help on making their move to Bend or anywhere else here in sunny Central Oregon. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even set up a Zoom meeting. We'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to Bend or anywhere else nearby. So like I said in the intro, we're going to be comparing Eugene to Bend. They're only about 120 miles apart, and they're basically both in the central part of Oregon. Eugene just happens to be a little bit further west. Two different climates, that's for sure. I've lived in Bend for 30 years, or just over 30 years. I'm 38 years old right now. I lived in Eugene for 2.5, almost 3 years when I was going to school over there as an Oregon Duck. So I have an understanding of what it's like to live in Eugene as it relates to living in Bend. And I can say that I prefer Bend. I think there's a few people that also prefer Bend over Eugene. But again, Eugene is the second most populated city in our state. It's on the I-5 corridor, so it's centrally located. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive up to Portland, about an hour to Salem in that range. And it's about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive south down to the Medford area, the southern town in Oregon there on the I-5 corridor. So it's in the Willamette Valley, gets a lot of rain, but it also is home to the University of Oregon, which is obviously the biggest university in the state. No offense to you Beaver fans out there. What we want to do is touch base on Eugene living versus Bend living to give you an understanding of what the two are like in comparison when it comes to the cost of living. Because if you're watching this video and you live in Eugene or you're in Eugene and considering moving to Bend, you already have an understanding of what it's like. The vibe and the culture are so different. The weather is obviously so different. We get so much more sunshine over here. There's so many more outdoor activities that you can do, especially with the weather and the sunshine, etc. Eugene, they do have amenities that say Bend doesn't necessarily have. But again, it's like if I'm thinking about where I actually want to live, it's like I like the vibe, I like the energy, I like the culture of Bend, of course, a little bit more so than I do like Eugene, even though Eugene's a great college town. But the data says it best. I mean, there's probably 200 or so people that end up moving from Eugene to Bend on an annual basis. So I'm speaking to you in this video. What I hopefully get is 200 views out of this video. I want all 200 of you that are moving this year to watch this video, and maybe the 200 next year to watch this video as well. So let's just jump right into this thing and we can give you a comparison of the cost of living in Eugene as it relates to the cost of living in Bend. So what I'm going to do is share my screen here and we will jump right in to one of my favorite tools. It's bestplaces.net. Okay, I've already got it populated here. So it's Eugene comparison to Bend. I'm going to get my face up here so you can look at me while I'm talking to you. But yeah, we're going to talk about Eugene versus Bend and the cost of living, okay? So Bend has just blown up over the last several years, especially during that certain pandemic. Obviously, a lot of people from California have relocated to Bend, but it's not like Bend is the only place where people are relocating to from California or Texas or Washington. Eugene does get some of that, but the median home price of Bend homes just blew up. And it was always a little bit higher than Eugene. We're going to touch on that here in a second. It was kind of on par with Portland, and now all of a sudden Bend is basically the most expensive area when it comes to housing in the state of Oregon. So the median home price of a home in Bend right now, according to bestplaces.net, again, a good tool, is $666. It's actually a little higher. Right now, as of this recording, it's $680. In Eugene, it's $458. So we'll do a little comparison between the homes available at their respective price points shortly. So if you're considering moving from Eugene to Bend, you're going to realize that you're going to have to pay a little bit more for your home. You probably already realized that, but we'll give you some in-depth detail on that here shortly. So again, bestplaces.net. This is a very useful tool when it comes to comparing one location with another, especially when I have out-of-town clients that are coming in from, say, areas I'm less familiar with. I know Eugene fairly well. I don't know places like Texas very well. I don't know places like Denver, Colorado very well, or other Midwest or East Coast areas where people are moving from to Bend. So we use bestplaces.net to compare the cost of living with those two respective locations so we can have a better understanding what clients are generally looking for and expecting upon their arrival when we go around town looking for homes to purchase when it's time for them to move. So again, Bend's population, about 100,000 people. Eugene, almost twice that, probably 330 to 350,000 people in the metropolitan area of Eugene. Again, the second largest metropolitan area in the state to Portland. Portland's the biggest one by far, and then Bend's probably fifth or sixth in that range there, if we're talking about the general metropolitan areas. Median median income 52,000 versus 42,000. Median age 38 to 34. Of course, Eugene's a college town, so there's going to be significantly more younger people in that 18 to 22 range that are living in the town. We've got our average median home price right now as of this recording. It's April of 2023, so we have data as fresh as March. Okay, you can see our median home price is $685,000, and our peak median home price was about a year ago, 12 to 14 months ago, and that was $773,000. So we've seen a significant downturn, a correction, if you will, in our housing market, which is to be expected with the way that rates have been rising over the last 6 months. 6 to 12 months. And so this is the aftermath of that. It's making it more affordable for people to be in the market, and people that were qualified in the market that were looking for houses that got priced out. They didn't get priced out, but they got buyer's fatigue. They got tired of having to go through this whole process of trying to buy a home within a matter of days. You can see the average time on market here for a significant period of time was under 10 days. Can you imagine seeing all these homes that you like and otherwise are qualified to buy get picked off by other people that are in the same boat as you over the course of just 2 to 3 days, 4 days, 5 days? Just not a very healthy state of the market when the average time on market is less than 10 days. So people got burned out, they got tired, they decided to quit shopping, and now they were going to revisit that. So we're at a point now where you can see that it is starting to tick back up. Okay, the average time on market last month or 2 months ago in February was 51 days. That's healthy. Okay, much healthier. So that gives buyers a sense of relief. They don't have to go in to a home and see a home and then make a decision 5 minutes later. They can go see other homes and then compare the two and then sleep on it, and they can decide of what's going to be good for them, what's not going to be good. They don't have to get any home. They can get the home that they want. But also, we're also starting to see that we're getting back into buyer and seller season. And so as of this very recording, it's down to 13 days. That was last month. So again, this is where we're at with the Bend market in real estate. Redmond is similar. Very similar metrics, just at a significantly less of a price point. So our median home price is $440,000 in Redmond. We had 42 units sell last month, and then our average days on market is going to be similar. You can see here, obviously under 10 days for a long period of time. Then it finally ticked up again. So the market is correcting. It's getting healthier. It's becoming more buyer friendly. And so that's something to be excited about, especially if you're moving over from Eugene. You've been over here in the Central Oregon area before. You know what we have that Eugene doesn't have. We have all these outdoor amenities, just so many things to do. The style of living, the vibe, the culture is great. We have a lot of people that come in to visit on an annual basis from out of the area. We've got 4 million people that will come visit the Central Oregon area on an annual basis, and Eugene is no exception to that. There's a huge connection between Bend and Eugene, obviously, because we have so many people that raise their families here. The kids grow up, and where do they go to school? Well, they're either going to University of Oregon, or they're going to go up to Corvallis at Oregon State University. That's where the majority of kids wind up going to school. Of course, they're going to go elsewhere too, but we get a lot of connection between kids that live in Bend that drive over to Eugene and go to school at U of O, and also up to Corvallis and Oregon State. So the drive between Bend and Eugene is absolutely spectacular. It is beautiful going up through those mountains, getting up into the mountains, especially in the summertime. It's beautiful in the wintertime, can be kind of dicey depending on the climate and the weather, with the snow and ice and who else is driving on the road. But in the summertime, it is one of the most fantastic, picturesque drives you could ever imagine going on. It's about 2 hours of a drive from Bend to Eugene, and some of the stops along the way, Haley Falls, some of the hot springs, just the scenic viewpoints of the mountains it's awesome. It's just, it's hard to describe. It's really, really great. So you know that if you're coming from Eugene to Bend and vice versa, you've done that drive dozens of times, maybe hundreds of times. But what we want to talk about now is more of the cost of living and how it relates to Eugene. Bend is going to be a little bit higher of a cost of living. We've done this before. If you've watched some of our previous videos, the baseline is 100. That's the barometer. 100 is the average for the entire country cost of living. So if you're above 100, you have a higher cost of living in that respective category. If you're below 100, you have a lower cost of living in that respective category. So let's just jump right in. Eugene versus Bend. Bend is a 131, Eugene is a 107. So Bend obviously has a higher median home price. We've already touched on that. You can see it down here. And that's going to be the big elephant in the room as it relates to the cost of living overall between Bend and Eugene. Bend and Eugene, of course, are both in Oregon. We both get the power from the same power up on the Columbia River, etc. We have a similar climate, but at the same time, it's still different because of the mountain range that goes right in between and separates the two areas. Bend is at 3,600 feet in elevation. Eugene is probably in the 2000s, maybe a little bit lower, 1,500 in that range. It's in the valley. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please tell me what's the elevation in Eugene. The Willamette Valley, a lot of cloud coverage, a lot of rain. It's very wet and muggy in the wintertime. There's days or weeks or even months where it feels like the sun hasn't come out. It's been cloudy the whole time. Whereas Bend, on the other side of the mountains, it is typically sunny. And when it's not sunny, that is unusual. It's the opposite in Eugene. Of course, we know this if we're both comparing the two, and we've been to both and we've lived in both. But let's continue on with our comparison here. Health score, okay, 97 to 96. Oregon, the Pacific Northwest. It's a relatively health conscious area. People are here, they're outdoor type people. They care about their health. They take care of themselves for the most part. There's exceptions everywhere, but if you compare it to the country, okay, we are a very interesting country. It's a melting pot of people. So there's going to be unhealthy people, unhealthy cultures all over the place. Eugene, Bend, the Pacific Northwest is not one of them. Oregon is a relatively healthy area. So that's thus the cost of our healthcare is going to be less because we're healthier as a society. We have to visit the doctor less. Housing, okay, 217 to 140. We've already touched on housing. It's going to be significantly less over here in Bend. There's so many people that relocate and scoop up those homes in the Bend area. And so that's going to drive the prices up, even though the prices have been coming down, which is good. We want that. We want a correction. We want a healthier market. Utilities, very similar, significantly less than the national average. 100 is the national average. We're at 83 and 81 respectively. So we have a cost of living that is more affordable than the national average, which is great, but they're both basically the same, one and the same. Transportation, 82 to 88. Eugene, a little bit bigger, okay, a little bit bigger than Bend, a little bit more of a condensed population. But at the same time, it's a smaller town, smaller body of population. So it's kind of tough to really, dock Eugene for that. Miscellaneous expenses, 135 to 123. Okay, Bend has a lot of culture when it comes to the restaurant scene. It's starting to bud. It's starting to develop and expand. We've got some entertainment options. We've got some things, but it's competitive. So, the price is going to be a little bit higher. Eugene, same deal, kind of in the same deal, but overall it's going to be a little bit higher than the national average. So Bend and Eugene are very similar in a lot of respects when it comes to the cost of living, but when it comes to the cost of housing, it's going to be different, and the culture, the climate, etc. So that's basically where we're at when it comes to those two. We can just jump right into Zillow here real quick. I've already got it queued up where we're going to be comparing, say, a $500,000 to a $1 million price point home, and just give you an idea as to what's available versus the two. Eugene, I think we just touched on, their median home price was in the mid fours versus Bend right now is $680. So a large difference. Okay, if you're moving over here from Eugene, you're going to have to deal with the fact that the cost of living is going to be a little bit higher. Most of the cost of living videos that we've done have come from, Seattle's, they've come from San Francisco's, Portland's. Okay, the cost of living is either equal with Bend or it's higher in those respective cities that we're comparing to. That's where most people are coming from. They're relocating from those locations. That's why we do these videos. And so with Eugene, it's actually less. It's the opposite. It's going to be more expensive in Bend. So let's just run through some of these houses right here. $500,000 in Bend will get you 876 square feet, 2-bed, 2-bath. Awesome. That's not exactly super exciting, right? So if we scroll down, we start exploring some of these homes right now that are currently on the market. The goal here is to find some that just came on the market so we can give you an idea as to what you can expect. Okay, $500,000, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet, almost 1,200 square feet. Not ideal. Maybe you need something a little bit bigger, but this could be good. But it's been on the market for 309 days too, so interesting there. But we look at some of these other homes, 18 days on the market now. Okay, 1,430 square feet for $550,000. Zip code's 97702. Okay, that's in either the southeast side of town or on the east side of town. A great area. Price points are currently where they're at with that regard. Okay, so then we get up here, $567,000. We have 1,573 square feet. Okay, again, we pan through here. We're getting some bigger homes. Here's one. This is in 97702, new construction, almost $600,000. 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,335 square feet. And these houses are absolutely fantastically built. It's just a matter of where their location is. Most locations in Bend are going to be awesome because, again, we talked about the commute time from point A to point B. It's roughly 15 minutes at most. And so you'll get to you'll find a spot in Bend that's going to be a good fit for you. And anywhere you need to go is going to be relatively a short distance when it comes to driving and getting from point A to point B. So let's move over to Eugene. 500,000 is the baseline here. As we scroll through here, what you're going to see are bigger homes, more availability. It's pretty interesting too. Actually, I did this and I realized there was only 2 pages of the parameters that I set. $580,000. This is a nice looking home right here. So what you get with Eugene is going to be a little bit more of a home, but what you're exchanging is the lifestyle that Bend has to offer. You're exchanging the climate that Bend has. There's just so much more to do. The weather is so much better. I tend to lean, I'm biased towards Bend. I'm from Bend, but I did love Eugene when I lived there. But ultimately, the culture of Bend is getting pretty unique. It's kind of a melting pot of people that want to relocate here and transplants that want to wind up bringing whatever it is they do in their previous location to Bend. And so what you'll get is a very unique mix of culture, people that are relocating, businesses, all kinds of things. We used to be more of a mill town way back in the day, blue collar, then we turned into a tourist destination. And now we are turning into just a variety. We've got all kinds of things going on here now, kind of a tech hub scene. We've got all kinds of more jobs, much more opportunity for jobs here in the area than we had even 20 years ago. So again, let's just go through some of these homes. $800,000 range now. Eugene didn't even really have that many available, but you can see here we're getting into some bigger homes now, 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,600 square feet. Okay, etc. I mean, depends on the location here. You're looking at a much smaller house, 1712 versus 2624 in terms of their square footage. But what we do see here is the zip code 97703 here versus 97702. 97703 is on the west side of town. It's got quick river access, quick drive up to Mount Bachelor, very walkable, a lot of restaurants and shops. The culture there, that's where Bend has really grown up and blossomed over the last 20 years or so. That west side of town, that's where Aubrey Butte is, that's where Summit High School is, that's where Northwest Crossing is, that's the road to the Mount Bachelor, that's where downtown Bend is. And then 97702 is more south by southeast, southwest. Great area too. That's up and coming. There's a new high school that just went over there. That's called Caldera High School. So the next 10 years or so, there's going to be a lot of focus on developing that zip code. And so again, I mean, price points are going to be relatively similar, but you can see the difference. You get a little bit more home in 97702 versus you do what you would do in 97703. Please go back over to Eugene real quick to look at their more expensive homes. There's only a few available. Okay, 700,000s. Bigger homes, anything in the $800,000 range. There are a few, but this gives you some understanding. 3,570 square feet. Okay, that's been on the market for a while. But again, this kind of gives you a lay of the land. We are hoping to provide as much context and information for you as you make your decision. You've visited from Eugene. You know what it's like to come over here, come over San Diego Pass in the wintertime. You know what it's like to come over in the summertime. Like we talked about, the drive and the scenery in the summertime is just absolutely fantastic. You've probably stopped in Sisters along the way. You've probably been to Black Butte Ranch. You've probably stayed in Eagle Crest. You've maybe been to Brasada Ranch or Sun River Resort. There's all kinds of things. I talk more in detail about what's around this area in Central Oregon as I talk to you that are coming from Eugene, because you live in the state, you've been here many times, whereas people that are commuting or moving from other parts of the country, maybe in California or Texas, they're just trying to get a lay of the land of the area that is Central Oregon and what the cost of living is like compared to where they're coming from. But Eugene, you've been here many times. If you're from Eugene, you're doing your due diligence and you're making your research and getting it all ready, all your ducks in a row. So our goal here is to help you with that. We're trying to help provide as much information and context as possible when it's time for you to make that decision. We would love to meet you guys. Please reach out to us if you're ready to take a look at homes or learn more about the area. That's what Zach and we want to do here. Our goal is to meet you where you're at. You got to reach out to us, though. It starts with you guys. Please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, reach out to us. Our contact information is in the comment section below. You can call us, you can text us, you can email us, you can set up a Zoom meeting. We want to meet you where you're at, but again, it starts with you guys reaching out to us. So again, thank you guys for watching our content and supporting the channel. We value that so much. Our goal is to become the best resource possible for people that are looking to relocate to Bend and Central Oregon. So thank you guys again for watching the video today. If we don't see you around town, then we will plan on just seeing you on the next video. Thanks again. Have a great day.